against Jennings will be the main guy fighting for rebounds against Jennings today, and with his athleticism, he's got a chance to have a big impact. It is Jennings that wins the tip, and Oklahoma State will have the first possession here in Stillwater.
ORU starts out in its zone. It's a 1-3-1 look. Cowboys anticipated a little bit of this.
Keller looking to crack the code. High post, Jennings. Outside Keller from the wing, online and on target. 3-0 Oklahoma State early.
Good find from Jennings, and Keller shoots it really well in practice. He was 0 for 3 against Tarleton State the other night, but starting for the second straight game.
And Coach Steve Lutz told us before that game on Wednesday that he felt like there were more makes than misses coming for Jennings, and really a couple other guys as well as they settle back into some more games here. There's a bad pass. It's knocked away by Keller, and the Cowboys out in transition. That's where they want to be. Long skip pass to Thompson in the corner, up the baseline, all the way around the world. Jennings on the drive, comes in with the left hand.
Immediate impact from Robert Jennings, the assist on the first possession, and an easy 2 on the second.
That ball went across the baseline and then all the way around the arc before it got driven to the rim. Jones in the high post, bounces it away, nearly turned over in the back court. Darius Robinson Jr. was able to save it. Cowboy pressure really seems to be affecting Oral Roberts.
Khalil Brantley denied McBride, but on the drive, strong effort. On the drive, Bryce Thompson picks up the foul.
I'll say it was on the floor as Thompson picks up foul number 1. Cowboys leading 5-0 early. Russell Springman in his second year as the head coach at Oral Roberts. He's very familiar with this building, though. Spent a lot of time with Rick Barnes at Texas.
Yeah, they had some big-time battles in this building between the Cowboys and the Longhorns.
Navarro with the left hand gets the friendly roll, and the Spaniard gets the first points on the board for Oral Roberts. Look at the starting 5 for Oklahoma State as Abu Usman goes to work, and he finishes over the left shoulder.
Well, he'll set his defender up by penetrating, kind of leaning on him with that right shoulder and then spin back around. It's a solid move by Abu.
And that's a fun post matchup today. Both of those guys kind of classic 5 men. Neither of them are going to step out and shoot just a ton of shots. McBride splits defenders, kicks it to a wide open Miller, too strong. Cowboys quickly running in transition, turning the corner Brantley, but he was cut off by the time he got to the baseline. Now to Keller. Keller's shoes almost look like Crocs because the top of the heels are white. Short runner is no good. Usman slaps it away out of bounds. It'll be Oral Roberts basketball.
Jennings, I think, wanted to throw that. There's another look at Keller's shoes there. You know, it's amazing. You went through a period in college basketball where everybody wore the same shoes on the teams, especially some programs would not allow such diversity. And yet now, no one wears the same shoes.
Yeah, there are no 2 guys with the same shoes amongst the 10 on the floor right now. In fact, McBride's got bright red shoes to go along, of course, with the blue and gold team colors.
Of course.
Miller, transferred in from Rutgers, has his pass deflected. It was a kick ball. It'll stay with Oral Roberts.
Well, I thought Jennings got it with his hand. I mean, there was a foot involved somewhere, I think. No, that was not a foot.
It looked like hand. A game is the foot, as Andy Dwyer would say. McBride out to a wide open Robinson, who rips the nets. He faked the pass, decided to shoot it anyway.
You know, that can be very effective to get a defender who's trying to close out into thinking that maybe they need to get the guy in the corner.
3-point shooting is something Oral Roberts does decently well. They're above average in percentage, and they make more than 7 threes a game. That's definitely a way they can keep themselves in this game. Long 2-point jumper is off the mark, out of bounds. Last touched by Oklahoma State.
Now, Coach Steve Lutz, in his first season here at OSU, was at Western Kentucky last year. And of course, he's taken teams to 3 straight NCAA tournaments. He would tell Khalil Brantley that is not an efficient shot because he was just inside the 3-point line. Shot a little bit quickly.
Jones has the ball knocked free, but a foul. That's against Jennings, who, as John said earlier, got in some foul trouble against Tarleton State on Wednesday, a game in which Oklahoma State trailed at halftime, didn't play very well, but were able to lock down a little bit better defensively in the second half.
The energy was better to start the second half, much better, especially from Usman. And then Chichi Avery, who has not come into the game yet today, scored the last 9 points of the game.
Robinson on the wing, 10 to shoot. Navarro can't turn the corner on Keller, under 5. Navarro bumps.
So far they're calling it pretty tight.
Voice an opinion, he said, hold up.
It's a little tough. The shot clock winding down. If Keller, that was going to be a tough attempt by Navarro.
It's one of those, it was a strong defensive possession for about 27 seconds. Late foul call bailed it out. Inside Jones, out to McBride, who rises from deep. Got it.
That's that quick release. And a second 3 of the game for ORU.
Golden Eagles lead 8-7. A little more than 4 minutes into the game. Media timeout coming up at the next stoppage. Oh, right around the defender. And a putback slam for Usman, but the officials will wave it off. An offensive goaltend ends up as a stop for Oral Roberts, and the Golden Eagles lead at the first media timeout.
Isaac McBride able to make good looks consistently so far.
Oklahoma State really pressured Oral Roberts the first couple of possessions and did force 1 turnover, but if ORU could find a way to protect the basketball, they shoot it well enough to give themselves a chance to stay in the game. Out to Navarro in the corner, who's called for steps, and that has been their bigger issue this year, John. Giving up steals, they're actually well above average in avoiding that, but non-steal turnovers, they're among the bottom 50 or so teams in the country, so they've got to find a way to improve that, and some of that will come with these guys having more time playing together.
Yeah, it was a very controlled, aggressive closeout by Keller that helped force that turnover by Navarro. Cowboys did get a driving layup by Jennings earlier off of another travel, or another steal, I should say.
Foul called against Pablo Navarro, which I read as 52 originally. I'm still trying to get used to that. That'll send Jennings to the line.
I wondered if it was 25. Luke Gray was the one that got the block shot. This is one thing that Jennings has done really well. He's been really good at the free throw line.
83% on the year. The Cowboys are among about the first top 25% or so in the country in team free throw percentage. Second free throw hits as well, so Oklahoma State climbs on top 9-8 as Chichi Avery enters the game for the first time, along with Devo Davis, and there's some history there between Davis and Oral Roberts.
Yes, and you know it well. Unfortunately, on the unfortunate side of that, but when Devo was at Arkansas and ORU made that tremendous run to the Sweet 16, what a great game with the Golden Eagles and the Razorbacks, but Devo Davis was the deciding factor in that one.
Made the game winner with about 3 seconds to go, and then the Max Asmus shot bounced off the rim. Otherwise, Oral Roberts would have an Elite 8 under its belt in the last few years as well. Under new leadership now as head coach Russell Springman looks on. He's trying to become the first ORU coach to defeat Oklahoma State since Scott Sutton did so, who's now on the Cowboys staff. Miller fires the 3 and buries it as the shot clock buzzer expires. 11-9, Oral Roberts. Quickly underneath on the other end, Usman can't finish over the freshman Gray. It's rebounded by Oral Roberts.
Gray did a nice job physically down low. His legs, he kind of got into a boot, didn't let him get up.
Gray had the ball knocked free. It's a steal. Dean shovels it to Davis, had to save it back in. It's loose on the floor and out of bounds. It'll go back to Oral Roberts. Gray, a freshman out of the Oklahoma City area, played at Oklahoma Christian. He broke Blake Griffin's scoring record at Oklahoma Christian, and if you're doing that, then you're doing something right.
Yeah, that didn't just take one weekend.
one really good weekend.
One of those tournaments in January. It was more than that.
Miller in his second year in an Oral Roberts uniform. trying to turn the corner. Spent some time in the Big Ten at Rutgers before that. That shot deflected free, taken back down by Oral Roberts and blocked out of bounds by Usman. That was Rosario with the effort play to go get the offensive rebound.
Well, he did a good job of just getting to a spot. The Cowboys turned and just watched the ball go up, and nobody got a body on him.
JoJo Moore, another freshman, checks in. He'll spell Miller for Oral Roberts. Right now it is Avery, Newman, Davis, Vukovic getting some early minutes, earlier than we're used to seeing. And then Dean on the floor for the Cowboys right now as well. No good for Rosario, and a foul as Newman was able to jump up amongst the traffic there to get the rebound. That one is called against Luke Gray, his first personal. This is not a set of 5 that we've become used to seeing on the floor for Oklahoma State this year.
No, but it's because Pat Sumnick is unavailable for the Cowboys today. Family emergency. He's back home in Green Bay, and wish him and his family all the best. But this gives Andrija Vukovic some more opportunity. He played a few minutes against Tarleton State. It was his most extensive stay on the floor.
Got a bucket in that game as memory serves. 6 seconds to shoot. Arturo Dean shovels it off underneath, and a foul in the back will send Newman to the line for Oklahoma State.
That's the second on Gray as he picks him up back-to-back.
As we mentioned earlier, Oral Roberts a little slim in the post when it comes to depth, so foul trouble will not be their friend as Gray will have to check out. Josh Jones, the sophomore, about to re-enter the ball game. Part of the reason for that depth is Sir Isaac Heron, who's battled injuries over the course of his Oral Roberts career, picked up another one right at the beginning of the year.
It's kind of a freak thing, too. Unfortunate for him.
Newman at the line for 2. Needs both to tie the game. First spins out.
I've said this on radio with our good friend Dave Hunziker that I think Newman has the most consistent, smooth-looking stroke on this OSU team. Of course, the timing for me to say that would have been before the first one.
Earned his degree from Purdue in 2023, where he was actually recruited there by Coach Steve Lutz.
With him at Western Kentucky as well.
Flip out to Jones on the perimeter. McBride comes to get it.
Avery out there on McBride.
Look how far away those guys are catching the ball from the perimeter. Oh, that's a three-pointer with a hand in the face for Darius Robinson Jr. 36% three-point shooter on the year, but he's got 2 today.
And they're both from the same spot, about 2 or 3 steps behind the three-point line.
He was just 2 for 9 against Tech. There's a bucket for Oklahoma State.
Brandon Newman getting in the paint. And with the lack of a shot blocker, you can see why Steve Lutz wants the Cowboys to continue to attack the paint.
That was a big difference between half 1 and half 2 for the Cowboys on Wednesday as well. Shot a bunch of threes, especially early in that game. And then you could tell coming out of halftime, they were just force-feeding Abu Usman.
Abu went into the locker room at halftime, hadn't scored, hadn't grabbed a rebound, and he came out in the first 4 minutes, had 6 points and 4 boards. So there was something said in the locker room at halftime, and it wasn't just to him.
He also was in some foul trouble early on in that game. It took a little while for the Cowboys to get in rhythm. Vukovic, hard hedge, flip out to Rosario for Oral Roberts. Now Moore has his shot deflected, and the shot clock buzzer expired. Really good defensive possession for Oklahoma State.
Yeah, you made them work too. Credit the Golden Eagles for getting the ball moved around the perimeter pretty well and took advantage of the hard hedge, but the Cowboys recovered. And Avery with a nice job of challenging the 3 without fouling.
It's a good sign from Vukovic as well, just as a freshman, knowing his assignment defensively and getting that hedge done, forcing a more difficult spot for Oral Roberts. Three-pointer from the corner is too strong, but Vukovic comes down with the rebound. Has his shot blocked with a foul called against Jones. Great. If you're a big, you drop those hands down, you're going to get that call.
Great hustle by Vukovic. Nicknamed Millie. I believe he gave himself the nickname because it sounds like $1 million. It's been competitive for sure. Last season's game, of course, the exception to that rule.
I think it might have been the collective gasp on the open look for Phipps that kept that ball short inside the Mabee Center, because it was an open look.
It got awfully quiet when the ball swung to him.
Vukovic missed the first, has a chance at the second one here. Freshman out of Serbia, listed at 6'10", 245. Missed both of those, but an offensive rebound for Oklahoma State is thrown into the backcourt, and it'll be ORU possession. Vukovic shot the ball pretty well in the little shooting competition at the end of shoot-around today for the Cowboys, but missed both of those there.
Yeah, both those were line drives. Didn't give himself an opportunity. He usually has more arc on that shot. And Chichi Avery actually kept that play potentially alive for the Cowboys by getting the tip, but Devo Davis was about to fall out of bounds, and that's where the turnover came.
Bride able to get it away from the double team, but then Dean knocks it loose. Dean touched the ball on the sideline. It'll be ORU basketball again. Cowboys have forced 4 turnovers so far, nearly had a 5th.
Yeah, Arturo Dean so quick with the anticipation as well, and just missed another steal.
Into McBride again, 9 seconds to shoot. Here comes another double team. High post Jones. 3 seconds to shoot. Robinson pumps, lets it fly. Short at the buzzer, knocked out of bounds. It'll be Oklahoma State basketball.
Forcing a tough look, but the way that Robinson shot it so far, that one was online from our vantage point.
Coach Lutz mentioned to us before the game that ORU would want to slow the game down, lower the possessions, and they've done that. We've seen them take a few shots at the shot clock buzzer already.
Yeah, some of that is the pressure from OSU double teaming that ball screen up top, just hard hedging it.
Cowboys have done a nice job forcing the ball out of McBride's hands. Avery spins to the basket, and he's fouled on his way there.
Just using his physicality down there against Rosario.
Rosario, a transfer from Drake, kind of long and lanky, 6'7", 195. So Avery certainly with the muscle advantage there.
I'll tell you what, you mentioned Drake. We had a chance to see them in Charleston when the Cowboys were playing. They were on the other side of the bracket as Avery hits the first. With the transfers they have in, the D2 players who have made such a difference, it's not a mistake or just dumb luck that they are unbeaten, or at least have been.
And that's, correct me if I'm wrong, that's after a coaching change too, right?
Yes, yeah, Ben McCollum from Northwest Missouri State taking over.
He has experience winning some games at Northwest Missouri State. A little under 11 minutes to play in the first half. Avery nearly ran through for a steal, flung over to the near side, and the Cowboys recover well defensively. Long 2-point jumper rattles home for Robinson.
This is the danger for the Oklahoma State defense. Robinson now believes he can make a shot with anyone in his face.
He averages just shy of 10 points per game. He's got 8 in this first half. Avery got the defender in the air. Couldn't finish on the drive, but an offensive rebound. Now it's stripped. McBride lost it. We have a foul. I think it's going to be ORU basketball as we take a look back.
Here's a look at Robinson again. Arturo Dean, he shot fakes him. He gets the screen. That's a nice screen from Jones to free him up.
So it is ORU ball, leading by 2. Midway through the first half here in Stillwater. Full court pressure now from Oklahoma State.
That foul was on Devo Davis for a hand check. But you see this with this pressure, this three-quarter court pressure where they're trying to trap in the corners. Cowboys are starting to get deflections on a lot of passes.
Well, you've got the length of Avery up top, and then the quickness of Davis and Brantley right behind it. It's going to be tough to execute against. McBride just throws the ball away, but now it's just thrown to the Wolves the other direction. We have a foul against whom? Going to be called against Avery.
Wow, and that was a loose ball situation too. And Steve Lutz is over in front of us wanting to know what the call was.
So McBride kicked the ball away from himself.
And then
Avery
Jones is, oh yeah, I think maybe it was for a little kick from Avery when the ball was loose.
And it may have even been unintentional and just their feet got tangled up. That is not one, oftentimes you don't see that called. just that incidental contact like that. Moore with it. Cowboy fans wanted to travel. 8 seconds to shoot. McBride sizing up Davis. They're familiar with each other. Robinson to the corner. Three-pointer on the way through some contact. It's missed. Rebounded by Oklahoma State. Avery will leave it back. Brantley dumps it off underneath. Usman working on Jones, and he can't finish, but he got fouled.
And that'll be number 2 on Josh Jones. So Gray and Jones, the 2 low post players, each with 2 for ORU.
Another guy that ORU could rotate down there if he were healthy is Sam Alajiki, their second leading scorer, highest percentage three-point shooter on the year.
Leading rebounder as well.
Leading rebounder, yeah, but he is out for this game. Instead, Mathak Majok will check in. The size is there for the sophomore out of South Sudan, the transfer from UMass, listed at 7'3".
Well, I'm having a hard time looking around to see Usman make the free throws.
This is when we become very thankful that there's a television monitor in front of us. Majok checks in. Usman at the line.
Bryce Thompson back in for the Cowboys. Newman sits down.
We were talking, John, earlier about all the different shoes everybody is wearing. If we played this game again in 10 days, they might all be different with the Christmas holiday coming up. Everybody might get new sneakers. Usman gets them both. Approaching 70% at the foul line this year. You'll take that out of the big anytime you can get it. A 2-on-1 break, all of a sudden lob to Majok, who could not finish, and Usman, who defended it, now moving the ball up the floor, running the break. Brantley in transition. Three-pointer too strong. Davis swipes through for the rebound, though. Oklahoma State just 1 for its last 7 from the field. 2 teams are tied at 16 apiece, under 9 to play in the first.
Avery wants a clear out here.
Step back over Majok, in and out. Rebound, saved back in by Oklahoma State. Avery rises for 3, too strong. And this time it is Miller that gets the board for Oral Roberts. Miller kicks. McBride quickly between the legs, back to Miller, gets by the defender. Slips it out to Moore, 15 to shoot. Moore pulls up from the elbow, short. Davis boards. Oh, and then a pinball machine. Davis got fouled, I think, a couple of times. We'll see who they call it on. They give it to Majok.
Majok, because that would have been Rosario's second. See the drive, little pull up. Devo Davis just in the right spot. No one actually really boxed anyone out. It just, Cowboys had more white jerseys in the paint.
This is a game that I don't know that anyone would call it efficient so far on the offensive end, but it has been hotly contested. It doesn't feel like a last game before Christmas type of game right now. You go. Davis makes the first.
Yeah, I do think there's been a difference, to your point, in the energy the Cowboys have played with, even though it hasn't been rhythmic on the offensive end. The energy has been there much more than it was first half on Wednesday night.
Davis makes both. Oklahoma State up 2. 6 different players have shot free throws for Oklahoma State. The Golden Eagles yet to attempt a free throw in the game.
Again, that 1-2-2-3 quarter court trap come at him pretty hard now. 10 seconds. That length on the front end, of the defense is really causing some problems. And McBride was across half court when he grabbed the ball, but he didn't land in the front court until after the 10 seconds had elapsed.
Got to establish yourself in that real estate. Jackson Skipper enters the game for ORU out of Tulsa and Sapulpa High School, but transferred in from Vermont. Usman missed the mid-range. Golden Eagles get the rebound. McBride lost it. Keller in transition. Majok got back well. The shot missed. Rebounded by Miller. How about the big man running the floor for Oral Roberts? McBride now. Leaves it for Moore. Back to McBride. An open look for the lead. Got it.
Once again, the three-point shot has been very kind to the Golden Eagles so far.
5 for 8 from downtown for ORU in this first half. They're just 2 for 7 from inside the arc. Bryce Thompson, fall-away jumper from the mid-range, fills it up. Cowboys back on top by 1.
You know, we've said it for the last couple of years that Bryce is probably the best tough shot maker on this roster.
Especially when you get into that mid-range area. The ball turned over again, a whole lot of contact. Hosea was knocked out of bounds. 3-time Conference Coach of the Year, more than 300 wins in his career. I had the chance to work with him for one season over there before things got shaken up. Brantley driving the up and under finishes. What a look from Khalil Brantley.
Well, he had to reverse it because Majok was there to block it on the right side. Great job of using the rim to keep the defender from being able to block it.
I think Majok can be there to block it no matter where he is on the floor with his length. 15 to shoot. Oklahoma State leads by 3. JoJo Moore, who had a big game at Texas Tech, gives the ball away. McBride trying to drive. Tough look, banks it in. He just threw it off the glass for the bucket.
That was good defense by Brantley.
Brantley got bumped underneath. Usman lost it, got it back, lost it again, and Majok comes up with the steal.
A little bit of butterfingers from Usman here in the first half.
Moore, the freshman, did it. Mid-range, no, but he got fouled by Keller. His second personal. That'll result in the first free throws of the day for Oral Roberts. Moore just 3 for 8 at the foul line this year.
Well, Jamarian plays a physical brand of basketball, and I think it was good that he got in the starting lineup against Tarleton State, and he really had an impact starting that second half with the way he would attack the rim and play through contact.
10 points, 3 assists, no turnovers in his first start of the season against Tarleton State. Really responded well.
Yeah, ORU has not had to go to the free throw line because they've been making threes and making jump shots. The Cowboys have shot 12 free throws already.
If Moore can make the second one, ORU would climb back in the lead. And that is the case with about 6 minutes to play before halftime. We've seen some. Oklahoma State has very physical guards, and Oral Roberts has matched that fairly well today. We've seen some very physical guard play, which has been fun to watch. Bryce Thompson on the catch from the logo is fouled, and he got the friendly roll.
The foul's on Moore, his first. A good ball across the defense, and then Bryce just going off 2 feet. Didn't just take off on one leg once he got inside. Very fundamentally sound.
So good in that mid-range area. And now stepping to the line where he's much improved this year as well, shooting 82% at the charity stripe.
Yeah, Dave and I have talked about this on the radio side of things. It looked like he's getting the ball more on his fingertips at the top before he lets it go.
And the pump fake to Majok before that shot went up. That's him getting it to the fingertips. He almost just nudges it out there until he's ready to shoot it.
And that is almost every time he's gone to the free throw line. The first time in a game, opponents have almost committed a lane violation.
Oklahoma State back up 2. Robinson for 3 in the lead, spins out.
That was an open look.
Thompson in transition. On the drive after the pump fake, can't finish. Offensive rebound, that's blocked off the backboard and out of bounds off of Oral Roberts.
A shot block. Good push up the floor, and then the shot fake and drive in. But there you see, shooting over the top of that. Jennings, good hustle, but he couldn't finish.
We really saw Majok affect the first shot without blocking it and then block the second shot.
And I'm not sure he left the ground on either one of them.
Probably didn't need to. 7-3 will do that for you. I've not had that experience in my life. Dean up the baseline. Pass up top, Thompson rises. Short, but Dean with the rebound. Arturo Dean bringing some energy right now, and then a foul away from the basketball. Called against Majok.
That's his second.
The ORU coaching staff, by way of substitution, has ensured that no big has picked up more than 2 fouls, but all bigs have picked up 2 fouls at this point for ORU.
A little bit of a lottery game for the rest of the half.
5:08 to try to survive. They're going to leave Majok in there for now, who's holding his own.
Let's see if Vukovic gets a little more air under this one.
He did, and he finished.
Well, he's got one more to go. He was running back down the floor.
He had me fooled.
Yeah.
I was ready to get back to the action. Often the opposite of those happens. There's only one, and everybody else thinks it's 2. They just stand there after the miss, and nobody rebounds the basketball.
That's true.
I don't know that I've seen it happen like that very often.
So locked in, though, you know.
He's going to need to be again to make this second one. And he does. That one looks like the best of the 4.
Now he can also back down on that defensive transition.
Hey, if you're gonna make a mistake like that, do it as a hustle play.
Yeah, after a make.
Yeah. 5 minutes to play in the first half. Oklahoma State leads by 4. Neither team is led by more than 5 in the game. Skipper behind the screen, got the 3.
That's a big screen. Well executed by ORU.
Back to a 1-point game. Dean gives it away. Thompson turning the corner. Nearly got caught in the air with it. It's stripped free of Newman, who scoops it back up on the baseline.
Robinson all over Dean and finally shakes him.
Absolute change of direction for Arturo Dean. Cleared a bunch of space, but then a foul on Majok trying to get back around Jennings. That's his 3rd. That change of direction. Arturo Dean looked like he was coming out to the top of the key and just stopped on a dime. He ended up basically all alone after the cut.
Majok was so high he couldn't get back down to the baseline to stop him just in case.
So it'll be Vukovic actually going to the line instead of Jennings. Cowboys in the double bonus, so it'll be 2 shots again here. And he makes the first.
Vukovic has a nice release, soft touch. He's gotten into shape. He was hampered a little bit by it. Came in a little bit of a back thing, but has steadily earned his way onto the floor.
Sounds like me trying to describe my ailments to my doctor. It's some sort of a back thing.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to misrepresent. Let's just say that.
That's right. I had the same experience at the car shop too. It's an engine thing. Vukovic has one more, which he remembered this time. Ten balls out, but it's saved. I'll catch a line that is by Newman. Then Thompson traveling with it. Nice play by Newman to keep the play alive for Oklahoma State, but still results in a turnover.
Well, Bryce, I think, was ready to pull the trigger and then saw that, well, Majok wasn't in there and saw a lane open up and got a little excited about that. Understandable.
Robinson gives it away to McBride. Miller sets the screen. Here comes a double team. Somebody's open. Near side, it's Skipper. Up the baseline. Miller for 3. Left that one short. Long rebound is, for some reason, saved by Arturo Dean. If that goes out of bounds untouched, it's Oklahoma State ball.
And I think he got a little confused as to whether one of his teammates actually touched it. He had Bryce Thompson over there in the corner. Here he comes. Actually, that was Newman in the corner.
I wonder if he thought Newman got a hand on the shot.
May have, because that was a really good challenge by Newman without fouling.
Bride had some space, but Dean closed it quickly after the catch. Up top to Majok, kicks it out. Miller, another open look. Off the mark again. Oh. That's out of bounds. Last touch by Chichi Avery.
Chichi tried to sell that one by pointing the other way and then looking at the officials, hoping.
That takes things to the under 4 media timeout. Still just a 2-point game. Never been separated by more than 5.
And then Thompson. Yeah, but this has been something that's happened with the Cowboys too often for Steve Lutz's liking. And you see you forced 8 turnovers by the Golden Eagles, but the points off turnovers only 6-2 in favor of the Cowboys.
Inside off the screen. Miller kicks it out. An open look from the wing is good. Skipper knocks down his second three-pointer of the game, and Oral Roberts climbs back on top by 1.
7 made threes here in the first half.
On just 13 attempts. Dean couldn't turn the corner on Robertson. Out to Avery to respond. High off the back heel.
Boy, that's going to be the 4th on Majak, because Vukovic could not go after the ball.
Felt like no one could there for a moment. As we take a look back at the three-pointer from Skipper, who had made all of 5 threes before today's game. He's got 2 in this one.
Well, Russell Springman doesn't like the call, but boy, Vukovic could not get moving, and now Luke Gray will have to come back in, and of course he has 2 fouls.
So Vukovic back at the line where he has spent a significant amount of time today. This is the first. These are free throw attempts numbers 7 and 8 for him here in this first half.
So he's already been out there for 5 minutes of action, 5+ minutes of action. It's his longest stint so far.
Coach Springman, you could see a moment ago arguing his case with one of the officials. Right now it is 11 personal fouls against Oral Roberts to 6 for Oklahoma State. Half of Oklahoma State's points in this half have come at the free throw line as Vukovic ties it up by making the second.
Oral Roberts, the beneficiary of 3 different players have made 2 3-pointers so far. Cowboys defensively have to be very locked in.
Dean very nearly knocked that one away. Really pressuring McBride. 5 seconds to shoot. McBride drives him this time. Tries the floater. It's too strong. Rebounded by Thompson. Cowboys want to run. 4-on-4 at the moment. Thompson kicks it to Avery. And it traveled. He shuffled his feet. Looked like he wanted to try to feed Vukovic there, but never found the lane he wanted, I guess.
Well, Chichi Avery has a move where he'll fake you up in the air and keep that pivot foot down, and it looks like he's traveling a lot. I do think he did shuffle at that time.
There's a very small margin between keeping that foot planted and dragging it a little bit. Still tied at 29. Oklahoma State has not made a field goal in a little more than 3 minutes.
Try that hard hedge. The travel on McBride.
Yep. Took an extra step on the other end. For a moment, it looked like he was arguing with the official. I think he was actually giving some tough love instruction to the young Skipper.
Yeah, Skipper, I think, turned his head right before when McBride was going to give it up to him. I think Skipper was getting ready to clear the area.
Remember, McBride, not a true point guard. Came in as an off-ball player as the alley-oop attempt goes off the rim for Oklahoma State. Miller nearly caught with the ball in the air. Able to get it to McBride just in time. Again, not necessarily efficient offense for either of these teams in the first half. Gray with the basketball.
Gray, here steal by Thompson.
Skipper spun away from it. It's not free. Out of bounds off of Skipper's torso.
Avery got a hand in there. He was down guarding against the corner man. Stuck a hand in there and knocked it off the Skipper.
Oklahoma State has really made these Golden Eagle guards earn every inch of real estate today. Not only have they pressured passes, but they've been really doing a nice job staying in front of drivers and things of that nature as well. Newman driving, shovel. It is a foul.
McBride not going to give up the dunk.
And he's a guy who can afford to give up a foul at this point in the game. That was just his first personal. Helping out the bigs a little bit, maybe trying to keep them out of foul trouble. Or should we say more foul trouble. Usman at the line. 2 for 2 at the stripe in this game. Long look at it, makes the first. Oklahoma State back on top, 30-29.
It's one thing that Abu has worked awfully hard on in the off season, becoming a better free throw shooter. And as we said before, when he doesn't shoot line drives, he usually makes it.
The Cowboys is a team well above average. They're not an elite free throw shooting team percentage-wise, but well above average. Usman makes both of those, and he's 4 for 4. You'll take that out of him any day you can get it. 2-point Oklahoma State lead with 90 seconds to play in the first half. Robinson thought about the deep three, gave it up instead. Ryan wanted a screen, didn't get it, and now a steal. Arturo Dean with the run through. Euro step, high off glass and in. Tough finish for Arturo Dean.
Well, and I think Russell Springman thought that Arturo took an extra step.
Remember, Dean led the country in steals a year ago. McBride turns the corner on him. His shot is blocked by Usman and rebounded by the big man. Newman underneath to Avery, double team. Feeds it to Usman. Can finish and one through contact for Abu Usman.
Why not reward the big man on both ends of the floor? That foul, by the way, on Gray is his third, but there's the block. And he looks for the outlet, and then he's trailing down the floor. Good find from Chichi Avery.
I think when Avery caught that, he thought he was going to have a dunk opportunity, but Oral Roberts got back well in transition to get to him, but didn't get the trailer, Usman.
That's pretty good hands from Usman to be able to handle that ball in traffic.
8 first half points for Abu Usman. Trying to add to that at the line. It's a 7-0 run for Oklahoma State over the last 2:40. ORU hasn't scored in 3 minutes and has turned it over 3 times in that span. Free throw good, and all of a sudden Oklahoma State has its largest lead of the day at 7 points.
Cowboys stay in that 1-2-2 3/4 court trap.
Timeout from Oral Roberts. Robinson called it. 39.9 seconds to play. I would imagine that Coach Springman and company would like to try to go 2 for 1 here if they can.
Yeah, it'll be, you're going to look for a quick hitter then coming out of this timeout. And my guess is a drive and kick maybe to Robinson, because so much attention is paid to McBride. He's had to maintain his patience on this, and he's done a nice job of it for the most part. He's came into this segment 3 of 3. He's now 3 of 4. He had the last shot blocked by Usman. Actually 3 for 5. He's missed the last 2. And what you've done Oklahoma State-wise is defensively, you've run him off the three-point line. You haven't given him space to go ahead and get that quick 3 off. But you better blanket him if you're the Cowboys, because he'll pull the trigger here coming right out of the timeout, to your point about the 2 for 1. You know, football coaches love to talk about the middle 8, meaning the middle 8 minutes, last 4 of the first half, first 4 of the second half. They just say it differently than basketball coaches. Basketball coaches say the last 4 to 5 minutes of the first half, first 4 to 5. Cowboys have waited until the last 2 minutes of this half to create some separation, but that constant pressure on the defensive side has helped fuel this run so far.
Into Robinson for Oral Roberts, not in a particular hurry. So now they'll just be looking to get the best shot they can here in this possession.
Which, you know, makes sense. If you've given up 8 straight points, you want to shorten the game as much as possible and not.
Instead, Robinson turns it over to Dean again with another steal. Left hand, finish off the glass. That's a tough look for Dean.
He's so athletic and so quick.
Shot clock is off in a 9-point game as we approach halftime. McBride behind the back rises. He is fouled with just under 3 seconds to go.
It's a veteran move by Isaac McBride.
McBride has been excellent at the line this year, a 93% foul shooter. His 50 free throw makes this season are 22 more than anybody else on the squad. And he makes the first.
That thing by Isaac with his release, it's so quick that it looks like he's rushing it, but at the finish at the top of it, you've seen this a long time, Adam. It's very soft with the release.
He is among the more springy jump shooters that I have seen at this level of college basketball, and just the way he gets into the air. But it still somehow ends up in the same position to get to that release every time. McBride misses the back end of the three.
Gotta go.
Newman from half court, off the mark. He got to a really good spot, honestly, to let that fly. Just missed it a little right.
He sure did, but Cowboys finished the half very, very strong.
That is going to be a very physical matchup. This has been physical in its own right. It's not a bad tune-up game from that perspective.
No, and when you add in what the Cowboys faced, the physicality of Tarleton State on Wednesday night, too, yeah, it's going to be at another level. Let's just put it that way with the Kelvin Sampson team. But, yeah, at least you get a little taste of it beforehand.
Robinson's step back to start the half is off the mark. It's out of bounds, untouched, and it'll be Oklahoma State basketball.
It's a nice little step back, and not a bad shot for ORU to get going. You want to. It's like a delayed heat check with Robinson based on what he was able to do in the first half.
Not seeing JoJo Moore put up many threes. He got red hot against Texas Tech for Oral Roberts, went 8 for 10 from the field. That's off the mark. Last touch by Oral Roberts will be OSU ball.
Bryce was looking over, wondering where the whistle was. There was some contact, not enough to draw the whistle.
Check the rim, D.
This is the back half of that middle 8 that you were talking about earlier. If Oklahoma State puts the pedal to the metal here, they can really create an advantage for themselves. And a foul will send Usman to the line. Charged against Jalen Miller. That's just his first personal, believe it or not.
Again, sticking to that game plan for the Cowboys. Pounding it inside.
Jennings just 4 points on 3 shots. And just 1 rebound. A little quieter today than maybe we expected.
Yeah, you know, the foul trouble obviously impacted his game on Wednesday night. But yeah, he started out strong enough. Second basket of the game for the Cowboys was that driving left-handed layup.
Makes the free throw, and it's an 8-point game. Oklahoma State is led by as many as 9. 6 seconds to get it across the timeline against this trap defense. Miller does clear it with 2 seconds to spare.
Jennings out on McBride. Cowboys switch a lot, so comes off the ball screen. You might switch to a smaller defender or a bigger one like Usman.
And McBride rips the nets with that sidestep 3-pointer. You can see the respect the defenders were giving him, though. They were guarding him heels outside the 3-point arc. Thompson in the mid-range has to give it away. Usman guarded by Jones. A couple of big bodies in the post. Usman with a foul called against Jones, who's basically a holding. He had him by the jersey.
Number 3 on Jones. So all sorts of foul trouble in the front court for ORU.
That is now 4 for Majok, 3 for Jones, 3 for Gray, and that's effectively all the available bigs for Oral Roberts today. Again, Sam Alajiki, who has been a major player for them this year, banged up, unavailable today. Turnaround look good for Jamyron Keller. He's got 7. He hit that first 3. He's been kind of quiet since.
Well, that's an example of how he can play a physical brand of basketball the Cowboys are going to need in conference play.
Robinson steps into a 3-pointer, short. Rebound off the floor, scooped up by Miller, who shovels it back out to Robinson again. Lets another one fly. That one came out of his hand funny. Rebounded by Oklahoma State this time. Looked at the speed up the floor to Keller. Spins, baseline, Keller.
He has got it into overdrive.
More pressure from Oklahoma State. Oral Roberts breaks it. That is deflected up in the air. Stolen by Oklahoma State in a push. Called against Robinson as we take a look back at that last Keller bucket.
Again, he's got such a strong upper body, Jamyron Keller does. And watch how he tries to work on McBride. First spinning, but leaning in. And Isaac does not have enough size to be able to get up and knock that one back out of bounds.
Oklahoma State, similar to Wednesday, John, turning up the energy to start the second half.
Finishing through contact at the rim.
That ball kind of given away by Oklahoma State there. Moore in transition, has it slapped away from behind. Miller then dribbles it off of his foot and out of bounds. There was just nobody was really in sync on that play.
Yeah, Jennings isn't going to get credit for this on the stat sheet, but that hustle from coming from behind on the play to knock that ball free and stop any sort of fast break ORU may have had going.
The lead is 9 for Oklahoma State. Matches the largest lead of the game for either team. Keller fighting through a couple of screens to get to the ball underneath the basket. Thompson stops on a dime from the elbow, in and out. Fight for the rebound in the corner. Oklahoma State comes up with it, and the layup is good for Khalil Brantley, his first bucket of the game.
Really asserting themselves in physical nature on the offensive end, attacking the rim.
Bride dribbles around the screen, leaves it back for Gray. Gray will spot up, lets it fly, and he stuck it on the back end.
He deadened that one.
If only I could do that with my wedge on the golf course. A foul on the other end will send Oklahoma State to the line.
Yeah. Clanking. That's in my golf repertoire.
Yeah, that one might be a more accurate description of my short game.
Brantley just grabbing that loose ball in the corner, and nobody came over to cut him off. And Miller has picked up his second.
Both in this half for Miller. Thompson 1 for 1 at the stripe. Thompson's first, painfully short.
Wasn't that flick of the wrist at the top of that one like normal? The Cowboys have been very active on missed free throws, at least tipping the ball out to teammates. They just haven't been able to cash in second chance opportunities.
Got that one. On the flip side for ORU, they really needed to get to the free throw line more. They're 3-3 when their free throw rate is better than 31%, 0-6 when it's less, and it is way under that today.
That was almost a 10-second call. It got it over with about a second remaining. Double high horn set. Let McBride try to go to work.
Gray will try another. That was way strong. And then the ball turned over. Gray now driving, little Euro step. A foul call that will send Gray to the line. That was an interesting series of events there.
Well, a foul called on Brantley there. Let's see. Now, Jennings has it, and then Gray kind of runs over him. And a lot of times you'll see that whistle blown. But this time on that one, I believe they got Brantley with a foul.
They sure did, his first. Luke Gray, the true freshman from Edmond, at the line, makes the first. Avery checks back in for Oklahoma State. He'll spell Jennings.
That would be the definition of, the visual definition of Luke Gray making things happen.
Yes.
It's not exactly a dunk and an and one, but he's going to get 2 points out of it.
Well, and honestly, that's kind of how this whole game has been. It has, not a lot of it has looked overly intentional or in rhythm, but it has been a well-contested game regardless. Osman out of bounds. Last touch by Oral Roberts, I think. But in any case, we're at the under 16 media timeout here in the second half. Oklahoma State has extended its lead to as many as 11 points.
Utah. Teams coming into the league now. Arizona, you know they're going to be good, even though they're just 6-5. They've played a very tough schedule.
Iowa State ranked in the top 5. Thompson finishes with the left hand. That's a tough look for Bryce Thompson. The Oklahoma State women got their Big 12 play started last night with a win over Iowa State, as J.C. Hoyt's squad moved to 1-0 in league play, and I believe 11-1 now on the season. On the other end, a slam for Oral Roberts.
Well, that was great execution against the three-quarter court trap. The Cowboys did not fall back once it was split, and ORU attacked it from the top of the key. That's the first shot they've taken this half that wasn't a three-pointer.
For Oral Roberts in a game like this, when you're playing these big physical guards like Oklahoma State has, if you can learn to break the press against those guys, you're going to find it a little easier when you get to Summit League play. A whistle and a travel called against Oklahoma State.
Well, here's the way to beat the trap. You get it across inside the trap, and then you turn and go, because it becomes kind of a mini fast break opportunity.
Trap still active for Oklahoma State. McBride eyeing things up in a 7-point game. Gray gets some significant minutes. They dump it off underneath to him again. He spins away, and he's fouled and one for the freshman, Luke Gray.
Brantley picks up the foul. Got a mismatch on the interior. And Luke Gray showing some things on the offensive end. Little head fake. Got himself balanced before he went up.
Oral Roberts fighting its way back into this thing, surprisingly, John, by getting the ball to the rim.
Last 2 times down have been the biggest difference, and Arturo Dean will come in now for Khalil Brantley.
Gray at the line for the free throw now.
Be ready for anything on this based on the previous results. Instead, that's a really good looking stroke. And it's a 4-point game.
Every once in a while, you got to keep it simple, I suppose, even in a game like this. You just watch the free throw go in and nothing exciting happens. Ooh, broke the timeline right at the 10-second clock. Keller attacking. Keller is fouled and one for Jamyron Keller. Using that strength to get to the basket yet again.
He got a shoulder right by JoJo Moore and just kept going. Moore reaching over the top of him.
What's the phrase? If they're even, they're leaving.
That's right.
Keller got even. I think that mostly applies to football, but Keller got even, and he went all the way to the rim with it. Keller, the game's leading scorer at 13 points, tied with Isaac McBride. He's been really good since being inserted into the starting lineup. Not that he wasn't before, but he's taken advantage of the opportunity before it.
We asked him on the radio after the game the other night, do you have to start? I mean, do you prefer to start?
Gray tries another three. It's off the mark. Skipper with the rebound. No. Slap back out. McBride will fire this time. Spins in and out, and Avery finally gets the board for Oklahoma State.
Cowboys dodge a bullet there.
Or a couple. That's too high off the glass, rebounded by McBride. Now Oral Roberts wants to run. They can get up and down the floor too. McBride driving. McBride finishes somehow as he was bumped. Able to regather with one hand and finish.
Well, that's athleticism.
Avery buries the triple from straight away. That is his spot on the floor. That is the first field goal today for Chichi Avery.
He turned it on down the stretch against Tarleton State when the Cowboys needed offensive production.
McBride bounces it to Gray. Now on the backdoor cut. Robinson can't hit the runner. Avery rebounds for Oklahoma State. That's where Oral Roberts is missing Sam Olajiki. As Avery somehow finishes through the contact. That's a tough look.
Got the bump from Gray and still scored.
As I was mentioning, though, those moments where Gray has the ball up top on the pick and pop, Olajiki is a big pick and pop threat for them. They don't have it right now. Somehow Moore found that one back in his hands. Open three, in and out. Keller rebounds this time for Oklahoma State and wants to run. Cowboys trying to put the gas pedal down. Dean for three, too strong. Skipper rebounds for Oral Roberts.
Boy, ORU's looking a little gassed.
And it's at a time where the pace has significantly accelerated in this game. Moore into the paint, kicks it out. McBride trying to split defenders. Dumps it underneath to Gray. Gray finishes over Vukovic.
Good find from McBride.
All of a sudden, the freshman Luke Gray has 12 points in this game for Oral Roberts.
Cowboys had stretched it out to 10 prior to that basket.
In the paint, tough finish for Thompson.
They are letting them play on drive to baskets right now.
We're about 2 steps shy of a rugby match breaking out on Eddie Sutton Court.
It wouldn't be the first one.
No, except for Eddie would have gotten the pads out of the process, football pads. There's an illegal screen called against Luke Gray, and that is personal foul number 4 for him as the foul trouble continues in the post, in particular for Oral Roberts. Oklahoma State has pushed it to a 10-point game in a high-paced second half here at Stillwater. Went out. That is what Oklahoma State fans saw in Jamyron Keller quite a bit. That ability to get to the basket, use that physicality. Remember, he's just a true sophomore, so he's got a very, very bright future. Now an offensive foul on Vukovic, and both teams with a big trading offensive fouls, and ORU gets the ball back trailing by 10.
Well, it's been a point of emphasis in the game now for about the last 5, 6, it's probably been longer than 5 years. It just seems like everything runs together after a while. But calling those offensive screens, those dribble handoffs where maybe a little hip check gets in the middle of it. Some guys are more subtle with it than others.
I was thinking about that today. We're about to be 5 years removed from the COVID-shortened conference basketball tournaments, which it doesn't seem like it was anywhere near that long ago. And simultaneously, it seems like it was twice that long ago.
Yes.
McBride cannot find space. Well contested. The rebound saved back in bounds off of a couple of young men in the first row who got a little more involved in the game than I think they were planning. But he didn't spill the popcorn, so that's impressive.
That was nice. That was nice. Yeah. If they're brothers, then it looks like the bigger brother just rubbed little brother's top of his head.
He might have given him a second consecutive concussion.
It's a good thing his hair's cut short, so it really wasn't much to mess up right now.
Cowboys back with it, leading by 10. Still almost 11 minutes to play in this game. Newman steps behind the screen, let the 3 short. And a foul against Vukovic.
He's picked up back-to-back fouls that time. An easy call over the back. Looked like Brandon Newman rushed that shot. Like he made up his mind he was going to step back and shoot that 3, and shot a little bit flat.
Vukovic will check out, but he's gotten 9 minutes in this game, so he's got some good run.
Keep getting him game experience. You're going to need him in Big 12 play.
Miller goes all the way through. The shot is blocked, and then it went off of his back as he stood over the baseline. I think that was Avery that went up and got a hand on it.
Avery, the secondary defender sliding over, got the block and right off the back of the jersey of Miller.
He is such a unique blend of length and athleticism. Oh, up and under wouldn't go. Rebound taken by Oral Roberts. Quickly up the floor to Skipper, who wants to attack Avery again. Flings it up off the glass. Man, that's a tough finish for the sophomore out of Tulsa. We have a whistle on Moore, it looks like, who's been inserted in the game as a forward. Braden Moore started his college career at BYU before transferring to Oral Roberts before last season. Out of Nashville. Jennings will check in here for Oklahoma State. Avery goes out.
Well, you're right about Chichi Avery. There is a he is about the biggest X factor this team could have. When he comes in and he is locked in like he was down the stretch against Tarleton State on Wednesday night, then he can really boost a team.
Free throw good for Usman.
Cowboys in the bonus, and there's still a little over 10 minutes to play.
Coach Lutz had an interesting challenge ahead of him by the time he got hired to try to fill his roster out. And he's put together some interesting puzzle pieces.
He has. I mean, his hands were tied a little bit because the transfer portal opened before he was hired.
Right.
And a lot of teams had been able to pick off some guys that I'm sure he would have wanted. But yes, this is an interesting mix of players. How about Usman today, though? 7 for 7 from the line.
McBride had it stripped, got it back, goes and finishes. And speaking of the transfer portal, Isaac McBride has been the leader of this team really the last couple of years, along with Kareem Thompson last season. But he had a chance. Oh, that's a nice finish for Usman underneath. McBride had a chance to get in that transfer portal after the 30-win season at Oral Roberts. Could have gone a lot of places. Remember, he started his career at Kansas, went to Vanderbilt, but he is stuck with this Oral Roberts program. Oh, what a steal from Arturo Dean to go up and get that one. Flings it ahead, transition, and a big jam from Jennings.
Jennings running the floor. Arturo Dean's anticipation and difficult to deal with. And there are going to be nights when you're just not going to hit open shots, so you need somebody who can go get tough shots sometimes. And Bryce has shown over the course of his career he's been able to do that. And no bigger example of that, I think, was when the Cowboys took down then #1 Baylor in Waco on a Saturday.
Oral Roberts needs to get it across the timeline and does. Long pass to Moore, who is a big, but he's got a smooth stroke from outside as well. He can certainly get hot. It's a 12-point game. Oral Roberts needs somebody to get hot before too long. Miller off the screen, back to McBride. Steps into one, in and out, rebounded by Usman as the Cowboys are starting to stake out a better rebound advantage as well. That's now a 12 rebound advantage for Oklahoma State.
Good pass.
And finish underneath that time for Jennings. Not that the defender ever saw the pass before it found Jennings' hands.
A good seal by Jennings to give the space needed for a little lob pass over the top.
One thing this Oklahoma State team has been looking for is more consistency. And it seems like in the second half they've been consistently in the right spots. We haven't seen many busts. We've seen them protect the ball better. It seems like they've done the little things well. That's a tough pass. Usman can't finish. Got his miss though. Put back is good.
Boy, he went right up through Braden Moore on that follow. But Usman, I think, got a little mad at himself that he missed the first one.
But those are kind of those things that we were just talking about. Can you have that consistent effort to go back and get the offensive rebound, stick it back up and in? I mean, it's those things they've been trying to improve upon. And we've seen that in the second half as Oklahoma State has now built a 16-point advantage. There's a bump.
Beyond Brandon Newman.
Newman picks up just his first personal foul as we get to the under 8 media timeout. Most of this game has been within a couple of possessions, but Oklahoma State now has its largest lead of the game at 16 at the under 8. For Oklahoma State, no more non-conference games. It is right into conference play after this one at home against Houston on the 30th. Three-pointer from the corner is off the mark. Jamyron Keller gets the rebound for Oklahoma State.
It's another open look from three lately that ORU has not been able to convert. They were, Jamyron Keller waving his arms underneath the basket. He was wide open for a moment. Brantley didn't see him.
Oral Roberts in the zone here. Underneath it goes. Slapped away. It'll stay with Oklahoma State.
Off of JoJo Moore's legs. It was not a kickball situation.
It was not. Yeah,
an arm wasn't involved.
You ever had your nostrils freeze the inside of your nose, John?
Not that I can remember.
That's Fargo, North Dakota in January and February. Last time we were up there, it didn't get above 1 degree positive, and that was just one afternoon. Moore on the drive. Left it short off the elbow. Rebounded by Keller. Keller is getting the ball a lot rebounding-wise tonight as well. That's his third.
Looking inside to Usman as ORU drops back in that zone for the first time in a while.
Corner three rattles home for Khalil Brantley. Oklahoma State really sharing the load offensively. All 10 players that have played have scored. 3 Cowboys double figures. There's a foul. McBride will go to the line as Keller picks up the foul.
So swinging around, good pass from Keller, right on target. Brantley ready to shoot. It's one way to loosen up a zone. They didn't even have to go on the interior of it that time.
McBride makes the first.
You've also lived this life in terms of Oral Roberts. It almost doesn't matter, other than trying to build, as McBride misses the second one, in terms of trying to build momentum and confidence in your team. It really doesn't matter what you do in the non-conference, because it's all about those 3 days in March almost every year.
Yeah, that Oral Roberts team that made the Sweet 16 in mid-February, they were something like 10 and 12 or something like that before they went on the run. A couple of misses, but another offensive rebound. Usman finally comes up with it and flushes it. A team-high 17 points for Abu Usman. And his final tune-up before a physical matchup with Houston later in the week. There's a foul. McBride will go to the line on the three-point shot as Keller picks up the personal again.
It's a little bit, looks like a little bit of a one-on-one deal between Keller and McBride right now, but there's Brantley fighting, little man, then give way to the big man to finish the job.
Brantley fired up for his teammate after the dunk as well. Coach Springman talked with us about that before the game. He essentially what he said was he wants to win every game, but the job is to be ready when you get to March 4th through 9th or whatever those dates are this year at the conference tournament in Sioux Falls, which, by the way, is a mid-major gym of college basketball tournaments. There's the arena's packed for every session, men's and women's sides of the tournament. It's a fun place to be. McBride hits another free throw.
Second time he's been fouled shooting three, and he made 2 of the 3 to end the first half. It was a bit of an upset that he missed one of them.
He's now 5 for 7. He had only missed, was it 4 or 5 free throws? He had only missed 4 free throws all year coming into today. He was 50 for 54. He's missed 2 in this one. Yet he has still found his way to now 20 points, trying to make it 21. And that's part of the reason he was preseason Summit League Player of the Year, but he's also been tasked with trying to mold together what's a very new roster generally for Oral Roberts, especially without Sir Isaac Heron, who's one of their most experienced returners.
And we've mentioned it a little bit already in the broadcast, but he was not a true point guard coming into this. So this is, he's molding while he's also having to take control of everything.
Usman bumped from behind, it would appear, by Luke Gray. That is 5 on the freshman Luke Gray, who will foul out with about 5 minutes to play, but honestly, a pretty impressive performance from him today. Ends up going for 12 points in only 12 minutes on the floor. Did not have a rebound, but was efficient offensively.
Well, he scored inside and he scored outside.
Albeit with a friendly bounce on the rim.
Sure, but it went in.
It was one of those high RPM three-point jumpers, just stopped on the back of the iron. Majok will check back in for Oral Roberts.
To continue the golf reference from earlier, that was a definite square groove.
Yes.
Job.
Usman stays in rhythm at the free throw line.
Oh, he's been good there today.
Got the friendly roll in the second.
Touch.
9 for 9 today at the free throw line for Abu Usman. He had not scored in double digits in either of the last 2 games. He got 19 today. Arturo Dean nearly knocked that away. Instead, McBride buries a three-pointer from the corner.
McBride, 6 straight points. Pressure by ORU. Extending that man pressure, then dropping back into the zone a little bit.
I will say there have been, in this recent history of this series, some ORU guards that have come in here and had big offensive days.
Yeah.
Max Aceman's had nights of 29 and 33 here in Stillwater. One of those was the duel with Cunningham. Cade Cunningham Now one of the best guards in the NBA, leading the Detroit Pistons. Not as many people got to see that in person as deserved, including John Holcomb.
Well, no, I mean, the first time I saw Cade Cunningham play in person that season was the first OSU game of the Big 12 tournament.
It's just the way things were going back then.
What an odd season of basketball. I did a couple of games from home that year as well, because the SEC teams wouldn't let you in if you were a visiting radio broadcaster.
Well, there's a joke there somewhere.
I'm just going to leave it alone.
More with it between the rings. Approaching the 4-minute mark in what's currently a 16-point game.
Oh, Brantley trying to sneak from behind, and now
Bryce Thompson a little too tight. That's on Bryce, and that is his second.
Arturo Dean in the game defensively as well. Of his 4 steals, 3 of them led immediately to a basket. And that was one thing we talked about early on in the games, that Oral Roberts needed to limit its time that it gave up steals to Oklahoma State. They did that pretty well in the first half. The second half, Dean, Keller, some of those guys have been able to get hands-on passes and get things going offensively.
Yeah, started that last minute and a half, 2 minutes of the first half. Cowboys got a couple of runouts after Dean steals.
ORU back within 14, but Oklahoma State trying to put the clamps down here with under 4 to play. Brantley pumped the pass, gets by the defender, flings up a circus shot. He couldn't finish. Kind of twisted and turned his way around Majok, who picks up his 5th personal foul as well. So the Golden Eagles have had 2 foul out, and Oklahoma State at the line trying to build on a 14-point lead when we return to Stillwater.
Trap, but some days it just goes like that, and the Cowboys forcing the officials to decide whether or not to blow the whistle, and they've done it more often than not. And you and I said this too, I think it's been a pretty well officiated game.
Khalil Brantley at the line here. One guy that you did not see on the foul list there for Oral Roberts is Isaac McBride, who has played 35 of the possible 36 minutes. He led the country in minutes per game last season at just a touch shy of 39 minutes per game.
He's been good here in the second half too. 24 points, 7 of 12. He hasn't forced a lot of shots, but he's had to go get some points for ORU to try to stay within arm's length of Oklahoma State. But 24 points, 5 assists, 6 turnovers, all of those in the first half. He's played a turnover-free game here in the second half.
4 for 6 from beyond the arc as well, but that's kind of been the story. Oral Roberts 7 of 13 from 3 in the first half, just 3 of 13 here in the second half, as an elbow jumper is off the mark. Offensive rebound, though, for Oral Roberts. McBride rises again, his 5th 3-point jumper of the game.
It's a second chance bucket.
Oral Roberts has actually kind of held its own with that 3-pointer in that category, 12 to 6. I think if you'd have told Russell Springman before the game they'd just be -6 in second chance points, he'd probably live with it.
Yeah, Cowboys with a lot of offensive boards.
That's off the rim and out over the backboard. So it'll be Oral Roberts basketball as we take a look back at that last McBride triple.
Well, it came off of a loose ball. Chichi Aver could not corral the rebound and very quickly back out. They know who to look for. They're a 3-pointer away from making this a 10-point ball game.
It's under 3 minutes to go. There is an open look from the corner. It's too strong, and Arturo Dean gets the rebound. Dean just kind of shows up in places all the time. That's his 2nd board today.
Tremendous rebounding guard.
Avery walks into a 3, but it's off the mark, and a foul. Looks like it's going to go against Oral Roberts. Vukovic had position.
Jones just picked up his 4th. Got tangled up with Vukovic.
My foul starting to look more like a bingo card.
Hey, well, listen, we've had one of those already down in Charleston against Florida Atlantic this year when 49 free throw attempts for the Owls.
Vukovic back at the line where he's 4 for 8 on the day, makes the front end. So a chance now to finish above 50% on the day. And this will drop him back to that number. You got them both. All 6 of Vukovic's points at the free throw line today, but he's put in good minutes.
He's needed more game time. Again, the Cowboys are going to need him for conference play. And Pat Sumnick, again, not available today, back home with a family emergency.
Jones is lucky he didn't pick up his 5th foul on the screen there. Instead, it's a kick out to Rosario. Open 3, got it. It's a 12-point game with 2:08 to play.
There are things that this Oral Roberts team shows that you can see how they could be a really dangerous team for Summit League opponents.
Well, that's kind of what Coach Springman talked to us about before the game. He's seen flashes as Thompson plays yet another mid-range jumper. But Oral Roberts hasn't put the consistency together yet. Oklahoma State, meanwhile, like we said earlier, this second half, they've done a lot of the little things the right way over the course of the game. It hasn't been overly flashy, but they've built themselves a very comfortable lead. But there's a foul and an and-one chance here for JoJo Moore. Avery picks up his second.
Chichi Avery backing off as he was guarding Jones. He took a swipe and then just barely jumped into JoJo Moore.
Moore's first field goal make of the game. But as we were saying about Oklahoma State, it's been the hustle plays, getting those deflections that has allowed them to kind of push the pace and extend the lead. Double team, it's stolen, a run through for Moore. In transition, the right hand flush. And it's a single digit game. Almost said one possession, that would be a lie. 1:20 to go, and Oral Roberts putting on some backcourt pressure here.
Steve Lutz wants a timeout.
Oklahoma State led by as many as 20 at the 5:36 mark, and Oral Roberts has fought its way back to a single-digit game.
Credit to Golden Eagles for staying with it. You know, getting 3 points every trip down the floor makes a difference in a game like this. You know, Rosario hitting the 3, McBride hitting the 3 off the second chance, and then Moore with the bank shot and the and one. I mean, their last 11 points, 9 of those have come on 3 different possessions.
Oral Roberts back up to now 31% from 3 in the second half, but 41% in the game as a whole. And the free throws have been a little more evenly distributed in the second half. Oklahoma State 11 of 13, Oral Roberts 10 of 11.
Well, the Golden Eagles have been a little more aggressive. You remember early on, Luke Gray getting some points inside, and they were attacking that 1-2-2 3/4 court trap the Cowboys were putting on once they would break it and just going at them instead of trying to settle into an offensive possession and look for an open 3 or an offensive putback.
You might be wondering, okay, how's Oklahoma State still up by 9 in this game? Then those numbers are fairly similar. 17 offensive rebounds for the Cowboys. They've not always converted those into second chance points, but they do now have a 14-6 advantage in that category. That's much better than early on. 12 to shoot for the Cowboys. Dean lost the handle. It's stolen away. JoJo Moore in transition to Robinson. Goes up through contact, finishes.
Wow.
It's a 7-point game with a little under a minute to go. Timeout, Oral Roberts.
Cannot get sloppy with a basketball. JoJo Moore this time getting it started. And it was Rosario kind of knocking the ball free from behind as Dean got into the paint. Boy, they're lucky. Cowboys are lucky that there was not a whistle blown on Brantley. There is a lot of time left.
Oklahoma State was in the Southern Illinois game. I'm drawing a blank in my memory now, where they were up big, and then Southern Illinois, I think it was, came back late and made it a very close game. Oklahoma State was able to pull it out. But as we've talked a little bit about conference play coming up for this Oklahoma State squad, you're going to be in some situations like this if you find yourself with an advantage in league play where the other team makes a run late and you've got to figure out a way to close out the game.
Exactly. And you know, when we talked with Coach Lutz radio-wise after that particular game with Southern Illinois. He said, you know, I let the guys feel a little game pressure in that moment. It was early enough in the season, but, you know, he said, yes, I probably would call a timeout a little bit early. I wanted them to feel some game pressure. Then when the Tarleton State game took place on Wednesday, then you kind of looked at that like, no, we're past the feeling the game pressure. There's a whistle on Skipper.
Skipper's a fun name to say. In the spirit of the Christmas season, it's like an elf with Francisco.
There is that. And of course, it always makes me think of who's going to be there and say, "Hang on, little buddy," whenever Skipper's involved.
First free throw is too strong and off the back of Chichi Avery. Coach Lutz will pick it up. I don't know how pleased he is to have the basketball end up in his hands on a free throw attempt.
Guzman back in and Avery will come out. Now, if you're Oklahoma State, you cannot let McBride get free for a three here.
Second free throw good for Brantley. That pushes it to an 8-point game with 53 seconds remaining. Full court pressure defense for Oklahoma State. Rosario attacking on Usman, and is fouled. Rosario will go to the line.
Usman didn't put his arm straight up. It's only the first on Usman. Avery will come back in. Rosario will shoot two.
Usman averages about 2.5 fouls per game, so for him to just be picking up his first seems like a good sign for him. Rosario misses the front end, and if you're ORU, you can't have misses at this point at the line. You need every one of those.
Boy, and that one crawled over the front, kind of kicked the heel, and did not go down.
Rosario's been a good free throw shooter this year, 74%. That one's short. Rebounded by Devo Davis. Oral Roberts trying to set up pressure after the miss. In transition, Bryce Thompson with the flush.
Got behind him. The pass fake by Dean helped make that go.
Moore, pump fake the three. Needs help. Picked up his dribble already. Inside it goes. Follow away jumper, in and out. Shot clock is off as Avery launches a pass down the floor. Foul in the process, and Avery will go to the line. Foul called against Rosario.
Again, to beat the pressure, watch the pass fake. It got Rosario up in the air, so that takes care of some length, and then you find the open man, and with nobody back home, that's an easy two.
Credit Avery, too, when he pitched that ahead. Kind of giving that soft touch pass, because you see a lot of guys turn it, they just want to get it to that next guy in a hurry and just zip it clear over the baseline. Avery makes the first free throw. So it'd make it a 12-point game with 21.5 to go, and it does. Rosario turns the corner, kicks it out, three-pointer on the way. In and out, Avery rebounds. Coach Springman saying no foul. Brantley will dribble it across the half-court line, and that'll do it. Oklahoma State wins its final non-conference game before conference play starts with Houston next week, 86-70.